County Circuit Court Judge segment of our Candidates Forum, sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Winnebago County and Oshkosh Media. This will include candidates for first Branch 3 and then Branch 4. I am your moderator, Margie Davey. The League of Women Voters seeks to inform citizens about major policy issues and about candidates seeking office. We do not support nor oppose any political party or candidate. Joining me on the panel tonight are Karen Schneider from the Oshkosh Herald and Bremen Kesey from Oshkosh Northwestern. In Circuit Court Branch 3, Brian Kaberlein and Lisa Krieger are seeking election. Judge Barbara Hart-Key is not seeking re-election. The audience may submit questions. Raise your hand to have a league member collect your written question. Some questions were submitted in advance, and panelists have also prepared questions. Questions may have been edited for brevity and clarity. Candidates have not seen the questions beforehand. Candidates, our timekeeper will give you cues too. Thank you for keeping your answers short so that we may cover as many issues as possible. When you see the stop sign, that means stop. At the conclusion of this forum, I will offer you each a 30-second opportunity to clarify or rebut something if you wish. With that, we will start with opening statements. You may each have 2 minutes to tell us about your background, qualifications for the office of Circuit Court Judge, and your reason for seeking election to this position. Why should voters choose you over your opponent? And we'll start with you, Brian.
Thank you all. My name is Brian Kaberlein. I'm a Winnebago County resident. I've grown up in Winnebago County. I was born in Menasha, grew up and went to high school there. Live in Neenah currently, work in Oshkosh. Outside of going to school, I've been here my whole life. The community means a lot to me. My family's from here. My wife's family's from here. My wife's a school social worker at Neenah High School. My son Lincoln goes to public school. I am a circuit court commissioner for the Winnebago County right now. I do intake for the for the judges. What that means is I do anybody that gets arrested overnight, juveniles that get taken into custody, mental health hearings are all cases that come through my court first and then go into the circuit court judges' courtrooms. I've done law now for 16 years. I was in the state public defender's office for 9 years prior to doing my court commissioner work. I've got a significant amount of criminal background. 60 to 70% of what the judges do in Winnebago County as a general judge draw is criminal law. Next most contested thing as far as jury trials or mental health hearings. Again, those are the things that I did as a public defender first for 9 years, now as court commissioner. I'm interested in becoming a circuit court judge because I believe I can have a significant impact on the community. I've done things in the community as far as our legal processes to try to improve it for residents, for taxpayers, for law enforcement, generally try to make things better and better for my son who's 9 years old.
Thank you. And Lisa.
Thank you for having us. My name is Lisa Krieger. I am the current Family Court Commissioner in Winnebago County. As Family Court Commissioner, all of the family cases of the county start in my office. So we have staff in the office. I control the budget for the office, to some extent supervise the staff. Brian and I are both commissioners, so we are in a judicial capacity now, which means we have courtrooms, we hold hearings, and we make orders. A little bit about me. My husband is a detective for the Oshkosh Police Department. We have 2 children, a 14-year-old and a 9-year-old. Prior to becoming Family Court Commissioner, I practiced general practice for 9 years. I have been in the legal world for 18 and a half years. So 9 years of private practice brought me a variety of legal issues. I practiced family law, estate planning, guardianship, probate, small claims, and other civil litigation. I'm really proud of the work that I do in family court. I'm really proud of my ability to listen to families in a very short period of time and make huge decisions in their world, including when they see their children and how they pay their bills, things that we worry about every day. I'm excited for this opportunity. When Judge Key announced her retirement, I tried to object. I didn't get anywhere. She said she was going to retire anyway, and I would be honored to fill her very wonderful shoes. She has been an instrumental part of our county for 29 years, and I want to do my best to fill her shoes. I agree that Brian has more criminal law experience than I do. There's no doubt about that. I've taken the position that there's not one judge who's taken the bench who knows every area of the law. I'm a fast learner, and I think my decision-making and my ability to evaluate facts and apply the law will help me be a great judge for this county.
Okay, thank you. For this set of questions, you will each have 1 minute to respond to a question. These questions have been submitted either by the public or by one of our panelists. And we will start with Karen asking a question of Brian.
Hello, Brian.
Hello.
So in your opening statements, you both touched on this a little bit, but can you tell us more about how the duties of court commissioners and family court commissioners dovetail with circuit court judges?
Certainly. The way my position works is most cases, for instance, if someone gets arrested overnight and it's a felony hearing, it starts in my courtroom. I would do the bond for them probably the next day or when the DA processes the charge. After that, I would do the preliminary hearing, which is the first step to determine whether there's a probable cause basis that a felony was committed and whether the person would be bound over to the circuit court. So directly from my courtroom is where the felony would start, and then to the circuit court judge after that. I do that for citations, juvenile citations, probate, criminal law, juvenile law, mental health. All of those cases start with me as an intake in a judicial role and then proceed on to the circuit court judge.
Okay, thank you. Same question, Lisa.
So family law is a little bit different because we, while we are an intake court, we can finalize cases as well. So divorces and paternity cases start in family court, and if they are not contested, they are with my office the entire time. We get the first hearing, we get the second hearing, we get the final hearing, and then we get any of the issues post-judgment. So in that area, we are exactly like judges. The hearings are the same other than them not being evidentiary. But we have the same issues before us, we make the same orders, we apply the same law. In injunctions, we would do the same types of hearings, restraining order hearings. In those cases, we would also make orders. And if a litigant disagreed with our order, they would go up in front of the judge. But the only time that a case would automatically go to a judge is if it's contested.
Okay, thank you. Bremen, do you have a question for Lisa first?
Yeah, you've mentioned that you have what some might say different experience from the different roles that you've played as an attorney, or what type of place you serve in. And I guess what the question for both of you would be: how is that specific experience that you've had as an attorney, would that make you enhance your ability to serve as a circuit court judge? Excuse me.
Absolutely. I think having a wide variety of experience in legal issues not only gives you a variety of people from all walks of life, people who, $20 is the difference between whether they can buy groceries versus the people who $20 is what they carry in their wallet every day. Being able to experience the differences in individuals, I think absolutely makes people a better judge. So the more areas of law you practice, the more experience you have with different people's lives, the more experience you have with the issues that are important to the community members. I think it's absolutely imperative to have a wide range of experience to be a great judge.
Thank you. And Brian?
So my role currently has a very wide role, areas of law that are involved. I think that what you need to be able to be an effective, good judicial figure is that broad understanding of the law, but the experience to go with it. So that when you see something unique, when you see something difficult, when you see something that strikes the community, you're able to respond, you're able to make a determination because you've covered those areas before. So I think that what I bring is the 16 years of mental cases, juvenile cases, felony cases, everything up through homicides that I practice. When I was doing defense work, and now that I oversee when people get arrested, when we have preliminary hearings, evidentiary hearings that I do oversee, it gives me a breadth of experience and knowledge that I can bring into the circuit court.
Thank you. Okay, Karen, your question for Brian.
Okay, so You're working with attorneys on a daily basis. So how would other attorneys describe your judicial temperament?
Good question. I actually think that the judges selected me out of the 27 people that interviewed for my position based almost entirely on my temperament, along with my experience. I think that the attorneys that appear before me would tell you that I'm very even. I make sure that people are heard. There's one attorney in particular that often tells me at the conclusion of the hearing, "Thank you, Your Honor, that was very thorough," because I'm trying to make sure that everybody, as I go around the room, is heard. And I'm always trying to be even regardless of how difficult some of the cases are, whether they're homicides, child sex assault cases, mental health cases that are just sometimes extremely traumatic. So I think very even.
Thank you. Lisa?
I think the attorneys who practice in front of me would define me as professional. I think they would define me as kind, compassionate. I think they would define me as patient. And I think all of those things together create the same type of environment that Brian talks about. A very level-headed, calm courtroom, because the last thing we want to do is raise more concerns for litigants who are already in an emotional state. I have been told that people don't know where my patience comes from. Sometimes I'm not sure where my patience comes from, but people are in court and they don't know the system the way we do. I've been known to say if I watched them at their job, I wouldn't understand the language they speak. I want to make sure they understand what's happening, even if they disagree.
Okay, thank you. Bremen, a question for Lisa, please.
Yeah, Lisa, you actually touched a little bit on that in the last question, where some of people in the general public may know little about the jargon or day-to-day operation of a court system. So to both of you, I mean, do you think that there is more kind of outreach that people involved with the county court can do to inform the community about the activities? And are there steps that you would take if you were elected to try and sort of bridge that gap?
I think we are very lucky in our county to have the legal assistance clinic to help litigants and to help community members understand the terminology that we use. As far as a court official, I try to take the time during the hearing to explain it, but outreach to the community, I think, it would be difficult because you don't want to ever cross the line of the ethics that you have as a court official or giving any advice to the public outside of your courtroom. So I would take the extra time within the courtroom, and I think every judge should take the extra time within the courtroom to make sure that litigants understand what's happening. But we in family court often refer people to the legal assistance clinic so that they can have one-on-one time with an attorney at no charge to get some of their questions answered, including terminology questions.
Thank you. Brian?
Thank you. So I'm going to take just a little bit different tact. I actually think that I've been trying to do some of the outreach. I volunteer for the mock trial. I've been doing that, I want to say 6 out of the last 8 years. I volunteer for the brigade scholarship. I'm a judge there. I try to get myself involved in the community so people can see me outside of what I do in the courtroom. Pre-COVID, typically in my courtroom, I might have somebody that would show up for 2 weeks and just watch court. Try to encourage them to do that. I think that's a positive for the community to come in and see what's happening. I think that helps us digest the news, because sometimes there's things on the news that we don't understand because we don't see it, we're not familiar with it like Lisa and I are. But the more people can observe, the more people can interact, I think the more they will understand it. We can explain the process. I try to do that with juvenile tickets all the way up through more serious, like evictions, replevins, things like that. So I think it's the responsibility of the judge to be out there and try to ensure that people understand what's happening and why.
Okay, thank you. Karen, to Brian.
I think we got this rhythm down here now, right? So, okay, the Winnebago courts have developed some special programs such as the drug court and teen court. Can you describe them? Do you support them? And are there other areas that you think might be considered in a similar manner?
Other areas in a similar manner, like a drug court, or, sorry, I don't.
I'm assuming yes. This is a submitted question. So we have the drug court, the teen court. So is there another item that may cause more of that?
So I'm actually the chairman of the Winnebago County Safe Streets Committee, and that committee's responsibility is to oversee those diversion programs. We've got an open meeting March 18th at noon, so I will be chairing that. That means that those programs report to our committee to inform us how they're doing, how they're operating. I think there's something like 14 different programs, including the drug court. I myself believe that this is one of the areas that I think I can really impact in a judge's role. I have worked on things like the SOAR program, the 24/7 program. I was actually on the initial planning committee for the 24/7 program, which we have one that's alcohol sobriety related, one that's currently drug related. So I'm a big proponent of trying to use money effectively to ensure that we're serving the community better. That's something that I believe passionately about, and that's why I think the community chose me as the chairman of the Winnebago County Safe Streets Committee.
Thank you. Lisa?
Early on, when I became a commissioner, I had the honor to sit in through drug court because I hadn't been familiar with it before becoming a commissioner. And in drug court, individuals who are dealing with their issues have an opportunity to come into a large group setting with other individuals similarly situated with them and talk about how things are going for them. I was really impressed with the camaraderie that the people in drug court had with each other at that time. Now, granted, that was a few years ago, but I am a proponent of these types of courts as well. I think there are absolutely ways for us to get to the root of the issue and maybe break cycles in certain types of issues rather than dealing with them solely in the court system and any type of in any other way. As far as what other kinds of courts could we look at, I think a mental health court, to the extent we don't have one, I think that would be huge in our society right now. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Bremen, your last question goes to Lisa.
With how the responsibilities and different ways that the Winnebago County Court system is split up, do you have any suggestions for changes in how it might improve efficiency or to cover certain topics?
I like how Winnebago County does their intake. I like how we do our case assignments. There are certain counties that have specialized courts, so for a certain rotation, they only hear certain types of cases. And I understand the benefits of that in that they are really specialized in that area. But I like the idea that all of our judges are getting different experiences every day and bringing in knowledge from different areas every day. I think it works really well in Winnebago County. As far as how to become more efficient, I think we learned during COVID that there are a lot of things that we can do in ways to avoid delay. I would be an absolute proponent of making sure that our system works more efficiently because I think litigants spend a great deal of time, money, and energy in court, and if we can help reduce that stress on them financially and emotionally, I think that would be a very helpful for our system.
Okay, thank you. Brian?
Is it possible you can repeat the question?
Yeah, with how the responsibilities are currently divided in the Winnebago County court system, do you have suggestions for changes in how you may be able to improve efficiency or different things like that?
So we did a time study not that long ago in the state of Wisconsin where we actually measured the time and the hours that judges were spending on different types of cases, and Winnebago actually scored extremely well. With our 9 judicial figures, I think we were doing something like the efficiency of like 10 and a half judges. So we actually, in Winnebago County, are blessed to have a great system. I can't take credit for that. It was set up well before me, but we do move through cases very well. I think that there are efficiencies we can add in other ways. I was on a committee that looked at how we were processing bond hearings. We were holding too many people over the weekend and onto like a Tuesday. We were able to make a change by bringing in different groups, Oshkosh Police Department, Public Defender, DA's office, myself, Judge Jorgensen. We were able to look at how we were processing cases and improve it. We evened out the bond hearings. We were getting people out of jail that needed to be out of jail quicker, more efficiently. So I think there are not so much the court system that needs efficiencies, but I think there are processes in the criminal world, in the mental health world, that we can improve the efficiencies on and make it better for the residents.
Okay, thank you. At this point, I'm going to give you each 30 seconds to clarify or rebut something that may have been said tonight or anything else you'd like to share with us. We'll start with you, Lisa.
Thank you. I just want to thank the League of Women Voters for having us. It's really nice to know that there's an organization that wants the voters to learn as much as they can about candidates. I know with COVID, some people aren't real comfortable going in person, so hopefully we have a large group watching online tonight as well. I really don't have anything to rebut. I know that Brian talked a lot about his community involvement. I do have community involvement as well on a professional basis and on a personal basis. We are a youth sports family in our family, so I am known to be at a lot of the sporting events with my children when I'm not doing the involvement through my work.
Thank you. Brian?
Thank you. That's actually what I meant to hit when I did my intro, and I absolutely missed it. Outside of being the chairman of the Winnebago County Safe Streets Committee, I'm also appointed by the Wisconsin Supreme Court to the Judicial Conduct Advisory Committee. I actually chair that as well. We give ethics opinions to judges if they have questions. I am on the Highway Commission for Winnebago County. We study all the fatalities on the roadways. I am also part of the Oshkosh Truancy Task Force. So I'd really try to make myself involved because I think it makes me a better judicial figure in the work that I do, so I better understand what's in front of me. Thank you.
Thank you both. It's obvious that you're both quite engaged and very passionate about your work. This concludes the forum for Winnebago County Circuit Court Judge Branch 3. On Tuesday, April 5th, you may vote for one of these candidates for a 6-year term. After a brief break, we'll return with the forum for the Winnebago County Circuit Court Judge Branch 4. Thank you.